Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Depends on what time it is that you're watching this. I hope you're all doing well amidst the situation we have of the quarantine and the coronavirus and whatnot. My name is David Gallegos, and my presentation is in how place matters for civic engagement, along with my experience of growing up or being raised in the northeast side of El Paso. Now, to get started, let's take a look at this image. If any of you happen to have social media such as Facebook, Twitter, or even Instagram, you might have ran into this image or meme before. What do y'all think it means? How does it make you feel? Do you think it's true or accurate in any way? Or how could you relate it to our democracy being at risk? So, to me personally, the image is a good example of some of the perils that our democracy is at risk for, such as fragmentation or issues of diversity or segregation as well. Um, Another meaning that this image could have is involved in the issue of equality, such as the fact that minorities participate far less than the population as a whole. As Macedo states, these persistent or even increasing inequalities impoverish our civic life and call into question the democratic credentials of our politics. Growing up in the Northeast, to me, means a lot. I mean, I grew up in a pretty diverse community, I believe. I had friends of African American friends, Mexican American friends, yet none of this mattered because the thing that brought a lot of us closer together out here in the area of Parkland, to be more specific, was sports, in particular football. Overall, the great sport of football brought kids from many different backgrounds of our neighborhood together. All we cared about at the end of the day was to win football games and not about all the other little things that differentiate people from one another. Or in other words, we didn't care about the things that cause the place that you're from to matter in terms of civic engagement. Therefore, as our book Democracy at Risk by Macedo states, place does matter for civic engagement. Not only do personal characteristics such as income and education matter, the local circumstances in which citizens live and work have significant independent effects on whether they will get involved, with whom and against whom they will engage, and how successful their efforts will be. In terms of income, based off the website areavibes.com, the northeast of El Paso's median household income is around 41,000 and 25% lower than the US average. That is what the statistics say. I personally think that the income of people from the northeast is pretty low. I say this because of my personal experiences growing up in the area. The certain individual that went on a rant about how bad the northeast is happened to be a coach at a school somewhere on the east side. And he just kept going on and on about how bad the Northeast is, that all the kids there are a bunch of like hoodlums, gangsters, thieves, that we live in shacks, that we live in, mobile home parks and stuff like that. So, with that said, I know I am not the only one that has heard such statements of the Northeast before of how bad it apparently is. For example, hundreds of times of places where I've worked, when coworkers ask me where I'm from, and I say the Northeast, they all tend to cringe at that statement. Therefore, if the majority of the people from the Northeast begin to believe that all these statements about how bad their community is are true, the result of that is going to be that they're going to start identifying all those statements as the essential blocks of citizenship, and it'll provide reasons for them to be less interested and less involved in political affairs, as Macedo states. This brings us back to the main point of this course, which was that our American democracy is at risk. The reason our democracy is at risk comes not from some external threats, but from disturbing internal trends, or an erosion of the activities and capacities of citizenship, as Macedo states. So the community engagement or service learning events that I participated in this semester, I think was a good experience for my personal learning and also to be aware of some of the social issues that are important for our democracy and in our community. In the realm of education, some of the important resources that are allocated thanks to the census and the data that it provides include career and technical education, Head Start, Pell Grants, public universities, school breakfast and lunch, school funding grants, special education, and subsidized student loans. In terms of social services, the census also allocates resources properly to things such as adoption assistance, childcare, disability services, food stamps, foster care, home heating and cooling, costs for people with low incomes, housing assistance, and senior services. The census, in terms of healthcare, also allocates resources properly to help improve community health centers, Medicaid and Medicare, reproductive health care, substance abuse programs, maternal and child health insurance programs. Other important things or resources that are allocated properly thanks to the data provided by the census include things in the realm of jobs, transportation, and infrastructure, which are very important to the health of our democracy. That way, it is not at risk. Things pertaining to the resources that are allocated properly, thanks to the census data and infrastructure, are things such as highways and road construction and repair, drinking water treatment, business and industry loans, housing rehabilitation, unemployment insurance, aid for dislocated workers, public transportation, loans to bring electricity to rural regions, and business and industry loans. Now, my community of Parkland or the Northeast apparently is doing something right because since I graduated, the school has seen major improvements in a lot of different fields, such as their stadium being improved. They got a jumbotron as well. They got turf installed. They got new equipment and more funding like that. In conclusion, my overall statement is that our democracy is at risk, but it can be helped if everybody begins to participate more and engage more with their communities and their democratic institutions. Especially if you guys fill out the census, a lot of resources will be properly allocated as well.